Hello everyone. So here we have the PCD All Excel Venture from Virgin Mobile, and it's a cheap, yes, cheap, prepaid Android smartphone. Um, it has a very tiny keyboard that somewhat resembles a BlackBerry when typing, but I've never been good at using BlackBerry keyboards. The keys stand out well. I'm able to punch out messages, but not very quickly. I guess you'd need to have smaller fingers, maybe. Um, so this phone, I guess, was probably made for the beginning smartphone owner, someone who wants to text and have a little bit more. Though don't expect anything fancy from this thing. It runs for $100 from, I bought it from Best Buy. You can get it from Virgin Mobile on their website as well, and I don't know of anyone else who sells it. The screen is, I believe, 2.8 inches. Don't quote me on that. It's not. I will show you here the LG Optimus V. Screen's bigger. This one's 3.2. This phone has a 1300 milliamp hour battery, which I'll talk about later. It has a 2 megapixel camera, so not very much at all. It does have a flash, which is not very bright at all. And that's about it. There's no dedicated camera button. You've got your volume keys, headphone jack, power lock switch, and you've got the charging port on the side. And I will talk about that as well later. Alright, so let's start by talking about texting. Texting on this phone, I told you, it's not, it is definitely not amazing, though texting, it depends on your ability to use the keyboard, I guess. It also comes with a landscape mode, in which you can use the Android keyboard and some other keyboard I didn't find very helpful. The touchpad input and these on-screen keyboards are only available in landscape mode like this, but it's kind of hard to use them. They're not very accurate because the screen is so small and you're reaching over this whole place right here. But on this part, I always find myself wondering which key I'm on or bumping another key. But, I do the same thing with Blackberries, and a lot of people are able to type just fine with them. Email and everything worked fine with this. I'll just say that. I didn't do too much fanciness with this phone, but it seems to run smoothly most of the time. Another thing I should mention with texting, once you reach your 160 character limit, you cannot go past that. So once you reach your limit, let's see if I can get one out here, it automatically turns into an MMS, like a picture message, multimedia message. So you are not able to send multiple texts in one, as with pretty much every other phone I've ever used. See, you got one text, or there you go, and now you're into multimedia message. So that's somewhat disappointing because my messages often go over the 160 character limit. Also, many times, it would just fail sending messages, sometimes several times, and I'm not sure why. It's in all areas, not just my house, where I don't get great service, but my other Virgin mobile phones don't really have a problem with that. So, and now for the web. The web, probably because this phone runs Android Gingerbread or 2.3. I'm going to run to phonedog.com. This phone is a newer version of Android, not that new anymore, I guess. But for this this price of a phone, I guess it is. The browsing capabilities, the browsing, it's actually not bad. It's a very small screen, very pixelated screen in general. you can see the pixels just fine. I don't know if you can see it on here or not, but things are not very clear. And I don't think it supports Flash. I guess we'll see in a minute. Web pages load quite fast on a mobile connection, on 3G, compared to, I guess, the older versions of Android. So that's a plus. I actually don't think I even used Wi-Fi on this. Also, YouTube videos load fast in high quality, but that's probably because it's only loading it for a small screen, and it's not done loading yet, but again, not terrible for a $100 phone. But the web seems to be smooth, pretty smooth in general. And speed tests, though, did not come out on top of things, even though the web was pretty speedy at loading. I'm not in a very great area for speed tests, but they were definitely lower than my other phones. Alright, and now the battery. The battery on this phone is very confusing. It's 1300 milliamp hours, which is less than standard, but with the small screen, I figured it should be fine. I was wrong. The battery does not last a full day. I turned it on at about 6 this morning, 6:15, and it was just sitting on standby most of the day, and then I used it for maybe an hour, a few hours, not very heavy usage, and it died at about 5. So I found the first about 40% of the battery life take a while to go by, but the last 50 go by very fast. So when you're charging the device, it does show very rapid gains in percentages with the battery. Don't take it seriously. I've had it say 58%, and then I'd unplug it, and about a minute and a half later, it would be down to nothing. And also 21% just now, actually before the review. Took it off for a minute, it was sitting there, and it went down again. So battery was not spectacular at all. Also, yeah, I did say it appears fast to charge, so don't let that fool you and run out of the house if you buy this. The phone on this, it's actually a little bit different looking of an app on here. Let's get out of there. You can see they've got some customizations, and you can drag through these things. The phone, the sound quality is pretty dang good, especially on speakerphone. The speaker emits a very loud, clear, and vibrant voice sound, I guess. The other person could hear me fine as well. But this speaker thing holds true with music playing too. You can hear a lot of the bass and the full sound out of it. So if you like playing music out of your phone's speaker, this is the phone for you. But the phone in general was pretty good. The volume keys, when you were actually in a call though, they would not respond for a number of seconds, which is really, really annoying. And also, when I pressed the unlock switch, sometimes it would take a few, or when you have the phone in your ear, it turns off the screen, and then when you took your head off, it would take a few seconds to light up the screen again, which is also unusual and not called for. This phone gets great reception, I might add, as well. Down in our woods, I'm able to clearly, send messages and actually access a data connection, whereas usually I don't get any bars at all, and if I do, not very fast, not really able to send messages. So, definite pluses there. And I will continue on part 2. Thanks.